USA Warrior Stories is a not-for-profit organization designed to record, archive, and share videos of veteran stories, to help veterans make a connection with one another and to help us all better understand their sacrifices for our freedoms.
My name is Sarah Boyd, and I grew up in Cedar Woolley, Washington, small town in the North Pacific state of Washington. I joined the military to gain education benefits. When I joined, the Army was offering a $40,000 college fund to sign up for 4 years of service. So I wanted to get out and explore the world, and the military was the best option to do that. And I took the ASVAB test, as I'm sure many teenagers did. I scored a very low score, and I was offered 3 different options: become a mechanic, to become a fueler, or to become a cook. And so I chose to become a fuel system supply specialist, and I joined up to do that for 4 years. And then I ended up meeting another individual that was on active duty. We started a family. At that point, I didn't have a family care plan. So about 6 months before 9/11 happened, I got out of the military to do the family care plan chapter. And right after 9/11 happened, I came back in October of that year and joined as an administrative specialist. Unfortunately, it's very difficult to become promoted in that field. And so I decided to go back and study and raise my GT score. And once I did that, I was able to choose whatever MOS I wanted. And I decided to become a counterintelligence special agent. And I went to school in the end of 2007 to become a counterintelligence special agent. And then they sent me to Korea after the end of the school. At that point, I'd already been in several years, and I'd already been becoming quite ill due to what they believe is a possible vaccine injury. And so I only ended up being a counterintelligence special agent for a year after I went through the training. And Korea was the end of my tour, the end of my 10 years in active duty. And they sent me back to the States to be med boarded. And that's when they found me to be unfit for duty, and I was medically discharged at the age of 28. It was difficult at first because I wanted to be able to still work. And so I was finding different positions that I would still be able to do so within the limitations of my medical conditions. And at that time, I couldn't even do administrative work. So I went back to school, and I was gaining my education in massage therapy because I felt that I could become my own employer, choose my own hours, and I would be able to work around my medical limitations. But after I completed the school, I decided that it was going to be too taxing on my system, and I just continued to get more degenerative and more neurological type conditions. And it was a hard decision, but I had to apply for Social Security disability. I had done research on my own and speaking to some other veterans at the possibility of the anthrax vaccine being the culprit to the things that I was experiencing.
Hello, my name is Sarah Boyd, and I'm the president and founder of Operation Truth Go For Illness Suffering Unite. Our YouTube channel was put together to bring awareness of the exposures that cause various different illnesses and injuries for our Go For era veterans and our service members, to include our family members. We'll also be discussing the anthrax vaccine and what exactly a vaccine injury looks like. We'll be discussing the VA healthcare system and what a horrible mess that can be, and then different therapies that you can use to assist with vaccine injury and other different illness and injuries that are affecting us.
Even with the diagnosis of vaccine poisoning, they still don't know how to react to it, and they don't have the appropriate staff on hand to deal with it. Well, the goals are to, of course, educate. And through education, we can put the word out there to receive sponsorships through different political means. And what I mean by that is through education, we can have these congressional bills written to have the VA mandated to do these different things. And that's how we get the VA to do what we need them to do, to accomplish so much that they already have accomplished for Gulf War illness, and the research that they've done was all through congressional mandate. We have some events here locally in Michigan that we're going to be starting to help connect the public and the veterans with cannabis therapy. And then on top of that, educate them on what Gulf War illness is and all the exposures that pertain to Gulf War illness, and then what Gulf War era means to us. Because what they're doing, because of a lot of funding issues, is that they've split up the entire Gulf War era, where what the Gulf War Illness Research Advisory Committee is just pertaining to those that went to Desert Storm and Desert Shield in the early 1991. And then you have several other different areas where they are pertaining to those individuals that have deployed in the Iraq and Afghanistan tours now, but they're not including any of those individuals that were part of the AVIP program, which is the Anthrax Vaccine Immunization Project. And that was done during 1997 to around 2002 timeframe, making all service members, 100% of all service members, get the vaccine. But what we believe is that it's different for everyone due to our genetic makeup. I was a healthy, young 17-year-old female, went into the military, had no issues. And there are no issues that are like these that I have now in my family.
So let me ask you, what do you do for yourself to keep yourself mentally and physically healthy?
Well, I meet weekly with a counselor through the VA online. And what the VA system has done is they have provided us with these iPods through Apple, and they send them through the mail, and then you can speak to your counselor on either a weekly basis or however often that they have it set up for you. And so it's a great program to be able to reach out and speak to someone that is a professional and can assist you with the mental balance. And then I use cannabis therapy. It helps me for many different reasons. I have a lot of allergies. And as a result, I can't take the pharmaceuticals that they would prescribe. One pharmaceutical I would take for my heart issues would mess up my issues that my system is attacking my platelets. And so I would bleed out. And so for cannabis, for many different reasons, I use that therapy. And I've tailored it as of now. I've been a cannabis patient for 12 years. And I've been able to use the concentrates in such a way that every day I use them to tailor them around what's going on in my body for that day, whether it be a high body pain day or a mental instability pain day or different neurological symptoms. Yeah, I wear my glasses because I have a hypersensitivity to light condition that they still have an unknown cause for. But it all stems back to that hypersensitivity reaction of the neurological response. Well, the great thing that I've found, because I've been isolating for quite some time, well before COVID-19, just from the nature of things that have been caused through my medical limitations. And so what I found to be an amazing tool is Facebook. And I know not everyone has internet or capability to be on the internet, but I found through Facebook so many amazing groups that you can be a part of, or different pages that you can learn from. And these groups, it helped me to connect with others that were going through the same issues. So that I didn't feel so alone, that I knew that I wasn't alone, that I had these doctors telling me that, oh, it's all in your head. There's no issue. There's nothing wrong with the anthrax vaccine. No one's injured. There's nothing wrong with you. And then I went on Facebook and I found out I'm not the only one. And there's several of us. And so it's a great tool to be able to use and reach out to whatever social media sources that you find that are benefit to you in a positive way. What I would like to say is that as long as we understand that we are united in this, and as much as they would like to divide us due to the funding and the issues of research, that we are united in this no matter what when time of service that you served, or if you deployed to Iraq or Afghanistan, or if you just stayed stateside. We all are in this together. We all signed up the contract just the same, and we all are supposed to receive those benefits, those medical benefits, and the way to be able to take care of our families in the event that we can't do so. And so that's our main goal, is we saw a hole in the system. We're not trying to take away from anyone, and we're not trying to say that Gulf War illness is caused by this anthrax vaccine. We're just saying that, just like the VA is saying it's a possibility, and the research is needed to gain that to gain that knowledge that we need to get that service connection. And that's that critical piece that we're trying to achieve through Operation Truth.